Hey Tammy, how you doing?
Oh, I don't know what's happened.
I can hear you now. Let's see if we get everybody else to jump in here while we get this live stream going.
Thank y'all for having me.
We're just getting started. Still a couple minutes early.
Yeah.
Everybody will jump in here slowly. Share it on Facebook. See who else we got jumping in over here. There's Greg. How's it going, everybody? So we got lots of folks jumping in here.
What's up, dude?
How you doing, Cam?
Good, man. Got some stuff going.
Got some deals moving?
That Newport, Rhode Island one came back up. That hotel.
Oh, the Hoppin' House?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
we'll
I
see what
got
we can
on
do
the
with that.
call for a little bit earlier. I don't know how much it came back up. It seems like it's still got a little bit of work to do to get a deal done, but
Enough that it's not in contract anymore with the other people.
it's a step in the right direction.
Yes, sir.
There we go. There we go. There we go. Who else we got jumping in here?
What's going on, Garrett?
What's up, Darius? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right.
Good
Hey,
to
I just had a quick question. Where should we be pulling cold data from? Is that where you're saying like the lead predictor?
Yep.
Okay, all right.
Yep. You can get up to 15,000 a month there through Lead Predictor.
So
And
how, and it's probably in but just like a quick breakdown, how do I go about, or actually, I think you already told me, I go on, wait, just break it down I know I have to import the contacts into what's it called, or whatever.
the best thing you can do, honestly, now is like show up to Charlie's sessions in the morning. And I
Okay,
know it might seem kind of like short answer, but like truthfully,
yeah.
at this point, you guys, some of you might know this better than others, but like I don't always know all the answers to the
Yeah,
text.
shit, I know. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's he's there to be a touch point so that you guys can always have real-time feedback on all of those things. But we're working
Okay.
on quite a bit on our side on the tech stuff. I really am trying to simplify everything for you guys. It's for me all about ease of access and how smoothly we can make things move forward. So we got a lot of developers that we've been kind of interviewing, I guess you could say, trying to find what's the best solution for our community now and in the future as we grow rapidly. So let's see what we got. Greg, I see you up here on stage. Let's see if we can get you. Oh, there it is.
Oh,
What's up, man? How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Good. Man, excited to chat with you. I know we've got to chat one-on-one quite a few times over what I'm up, I'm just now about to approach my 1 year mark in sub two. So I think we've got connected pretty close to me getting started last year, the first time. And so,
Yeah, and your rise has been meteoric.
I appreciate that. We, as a community, have picked up a lot of steam pretty rapidly. There's something about doing everything with intention and direction that makes things grow fast.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that I tend to give a lot of people is that focus and intention they need to get things done. And so it's definitely been headed in the right direction, the way we want to see it go. But yeah, I've been excited to have you on here. I know you've been doing some cool stuff on your side on the private money side of things. And so I've been excited to just get an update personally, but let's, I guess, as we get diving into it, now that we got the 6 o'clock marker, why don't we start by just telling people a little bit about yourself, your background in life before real estate, now what you do within real estate, and we'll kind of go from there.
Cool. Well, thanks again for having me. Yeah. I prior to starting real estate, which was about a year and a half ago, I was working in the tech world for Apple, actually, in marketing. Launched a lot of cool products, working on the content production side and also business affairs. Moved out to Knoxville in 2020 and basically, kind of transition out of that full-time role and have been a contractor for the last year and a half. And so now I'm just kind of making that push to make real estate my full-time gig. Started off doing private money, Gator deals, private money lending, and now doing more fix and flips, mobile home flips, and just got my mortgage loan originator license. So
Oh,
going to
nice.
be, taking what I learned in the crazy private money world and trying to apply it to DSCR loans and hard money loans and, conventional mortgage products.
There we go.
Yeah.
So you said you started with the Gator stuff. I know the
Yeah.
first, and then but you've also done several different things. So you've done the lending, but you also have, when we first met, I think you were trying to do wholesaling. I'm not sure that was not where you wanted to be at, right? You ended up doing a few flips through the year.
Yeah, I think wholesaling, if you don't have your systems down, your lead generation really dialed in as you know, and I think we talked about that quite a few times, then you're just going to be spinning your wheels. So you got to build your team, build your system. And I like flips because I'm a creative person. I thought, fixing and flipping, well, definitely has its challenges, but it's definitely a creative endeavor. So I've got a good partner now. We're really scaling our operations. We've got 3 flips going in Knoxville, and then I'm doing a flip in a mobile home park on my own as well. So
Let's talk about that a little bit. I know not many people do mobile home flips in that way in comparison to normal
right.
flip. So tell me first off, how did you first get into this, and then how does that look for you in comparison to a normal flip?
Yeah, in all of I'm kind of an education junkie, so I went to a bunch of webinars and stuff and became really interested in like note buying and selling and, non-performing loans and all this. And one of these webinars, there was a guy talking about mobile homes, and I was like, oh, that's interesting, and I've kind of been hearing about it as a just an off the beaten path kind of niche in our industry. And just started learning more and more about it. And I'm in East Tennessee where there's quite a lot of parks and mobile homes on land. And, some new homes go for 250,000. People just want a nice place to live. But I think what most intrigued me was the seller finance exit option of it. So being able to buy a property, add a little bit of value, bring it up to, nice livable conditions and sell it on owner financing and become the bank because that's at the end of the day that's what we want is to become the bank and create cash flow. At least that's what I want. Is I was trying to
Yeah.
create creating notes, creating cash flow, creating recurring revenue streams. So that's really why what I'm looking to do is generate more leads, be able to find stuff that I can find cheaply, help people out who are, just really in dire straits in terms of needing to get out of their homes, and also help people out who aren't able to qualify by seller financing and being the bank for them. So yeah, like I said, I'm working on my first one now. The thing is chock full of cockroaches. It's really disgusting. Um, and there was the guy who we bought it from was living amongst this, which was really kind of sad, but he was very grateful to be able to get out and kind of start a new life. And so now I'm just kind of giving it a whole facelift, and hopefully in a few weeks I'll have a nice product to sell to a buyer.
Yes, dude.
Yeah.
I hear the word help so many times there when you talk, and I know you went to help others during right after the hurricane in North Carolina. I can tell you're very empathic. You're very driven to help and give to people. Where's that rooted from for you? Is that just kind of how you are naturally, or is that just the purpose behind what you're doing?
I think there's a lot of strife and turmoil in the world and in the country these days, and it feels like instead of just kind of sitting back on social media and watching it unfold, you got to try and take action. And I think learning how real estate could be a method for obviously creating generational wealth and creating time freedom, but also being able to do good for your buyers, your sellers, your lenders, all the people in the equation. That part was super inspiring to me. So when it came time to kind of find the name of the entity, my wife threw out the name Higher Ground Investment. And I was like, I love that because it's ground, it's real estate. We're talking about, real property, but we're also, trying to use this vehicle of investing both to bring ourselves to a higher place and also the people that we come in contact with.
I love that. I
Right.
love that. That aligns a lot with, I think, a lot of what we stand for on this side as well. I strive to lead with value to help others elevate in life and find a better version of themselves and in turn grow their business to higher levels. So I think that's really cool. That's just something I know about you after many calls together, is that you are, passionate about helping and leading and giving. So and when I heard you talking about the mobile home several times, you just talked about helping and that. So I think that's super important. I think we talk about it very, very frequently, but like making sure that we're focused on helping and solving problems for sellers and not just how much money we can make. That's
Right.
something that I think is
Right.
important.
There's a
So
whole lot of striving in this industry, and you can get kind of wrapped up in the striving, but I think it definitely helps to ground you in purpose. So I'm trying to like have that be a North Star to some degree.
absolutely. I went to it wasn't Squad Up, it was Clever Summit, and they talked about being a purpose-driven business
Mhm.
and basically allocating a portion of your profit to whatever your for purpose is versus what your for profit driver is, so on my side, it's a lot about underprivileged youth, people that may not get exposed to some of the things that we pay thousands of dollars to get exposed to, especially more the harsh backgrounds, the hood, for the lack of a better way to put it. Those young men, young women that do not get exposed to higher level knowledge. I love the higher ground, reference there, because a lot of people, they don't ever get to that higher ground. So a lot of my friends that I grew up with are still in the same places doing the same things, and they just still don't know any better. They
Mhm.
just have never experienced. Now they have kids that are coming up in the same cycles of the same places we grew up at that don't know any better. And so for me, the for purpose on our side is really getting to a place where we can launch kind of like a big brother, big sister program, but where we teach these money making, real estate, financial literacy skills to younger kids. Like, why didn't someone not grab me? Like, imagine if somebody grabbed me at 16 years old and taught me something of value about financial literacy or entrepreneurship or real estate. But like, no one ever did. Instead, they were like, go to school, just go to school. And like, for me, that was just, it didn't work. It wasn't my style as a young kid. Like, it wasn't for me. So my for purpose is a lot about that as well. So I love that you have that as a driver in what you're doing.
Yeah, there's a serious lack of financial literacy in this country.
Big time.
And that was kind of when I was first learning about all this stuff. My kids are 15 and 17, and I went to school for theater and ended up working a lot of crap jobs right out of college because I was, trying to be an actor, and now my son is interested in being an actor, and I'm like, if I could just figure this out and like teach him how he could, buy one property a year using someone else's money and sort of grow that and stay out of the catering gigs. I think he would be able to make a lot more of himself. So I started. I actually first became interested in this in 2007, right as everything was crashing, and went to a bunch
Yeah.
of seminars and did all that and failed spectacularly, and then put it on the shelf for 10, 12 years until my back was up against the wall and I had to kind of figure out how I was going to make money again to provide for my family. So better late than never.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's kind of jump back into your story there a little bit. As we talked about, you were doing the wholesaling or trying to do the wholesaling. And I think the position that you were in is very similar to what a lot of people here either have been in or maybe currently still be experiencing. And that's trying really hard, whether that means spending money on lead generation or picking up the phone and making cold calls and talking to sellers, but kind of spinning your wheels a little bit, right? So as you've been able to find some traction in a different lane now, a little bit more fix and flip, what was some of the lessons you learned or maybe realizations that you hit when you were going through the wholesaling part of your journey that made you realize maybe this isn't for me, maybe this isn't where I want to kind of stay at long term?
Yeah, I mean, I always kind of come back to the whole Avatar series that Pace does and how critical that is to understand your kind of investor DNA from a very early, what is your superpower and what is your role in this crazy, messy, wild and wonderful investing universe? And so with wholesaling, we had this team of three guys and we were doing all this pay-per-click stuff. And I really didn't know what my role was. It was actually being a connector. And once we got something under contract, going out there, working the social media and finding, buyers for whatever deal we have. So for me, no matter if I'm doing MLO or private money or fixing and flipping, it always comes back to being a connector and realizing that community is kind of where all your opportunities come from. Being able to build a network of people who know, like, and trust you is super critical for anything in you're doing in this business. In a lot of businesses, but especially this one. So that's the thing I think I'm most proud of is like I go to the local RIA meetings. This grid is this local group here in Knoxville, but I go to a few of them and just kind of seeing like I have a relationship and a reputation. It's kind of like that feels pretty cool to me because that's what I sort of led with.
That's awesome. What I like is that like we posted the promo post and like several people commented like, "Yo, Greg is the man. Greg's awesome." Because
Yeah,
I
that's
know
cool.
you're active out there meeting people, building relationships and doing that. I mean, you're absolutely preaching to the choir when it comes to connecting. I am where I am right now. We are as a community where we are right now, not because I'm the most experienced real estate investor, but because I'm a really, really good connector. I'm
Right.
really, really good at finding this person, they need this thing. I put them together over here. We all make more money. Oh, this person, same thing over here. We connect them. Now we all make money. That is how I came up on social media over the years. I mean, because I knew how to set the funny thing when I was 23 years old and I left the gym industry, I had only ever been a sales guy. All I ever knew was closing deals. And
Mhm.
I was pretty damn good at it. And so I left and we were doing entrepreneur stuff and I went and closed some deals, but really I was just selling a different service for my buddy instead and like making a little bit more money, but a little bit more freedom. And then when I got into social media, I had all these sales skills, but I had no deliverables. Like I didn't yet have something to sell online.
Mhm.
And so like early on, it was just about being active, right? And I became, I guess, I've been, my friends have called me G Money since I was a kid. Like I really became that G Money character by literally meeting with thousands of people. Like over the past almost 10 years, I've definitely met with thousands, 5,000, 6,000 people, direct 15-minute meetings because I am not a viral content creator. Like I'm not gonna make a little TikTok dance and get a million views. Like that's not me, right? But I will put in the work and meet the people and find a way to do business. And we turned no deliverables into several million dollars online just through connecting. We've booked jobs for Lauren. We've gotten free trips. We've gotten paid to promote stuff, sponsorships, all of this stuff just through connection online. So when I got into the real estate space, it was just a no-brainer for me to, and I didn't really know that that's what I was doing at first. I kind of got, I guess you could say lucky. I joined Sub2 and I'm like, hey, Pace, I'm pretty good at generating leads. Like I got this call center team, we got them active and like, I got all these leads coming in and I don't have any way to close them yet. And he's like, oh yeah, no problem. He takes a screenshot, puts it on his story, tags me, and like 50 people booked. I think you were one of them, Greg. I believe you were one of them from that
Probably.
first post. And I just got launched my connecting journey, I guess, quite a bit. Pace put me on there a little bit. But it's incredibly valuable. And it's interesting how you can like find so many other ways to make money just by talking to people, right? Like somebody be like, oh, since you're already connecting to so many people, if you find X, Y, and Z, I can help you make money on this way too. It's like, oh, I
Hmm.
just had three other revenue streams just by talking to people all the time. So I know that's something I'm sure you've encountered as well.
Well, that's why it made sense for me to get the mortgage loan originator's license. I haven't quite figured out where that line is between doing private money and writing traditional loans, but I think as long as you operate ethically and
Yeah.
legally, you could. But no, I mean, the thing you're doing with the academy seems really great, and you got a good turnout here, so it's awesome.
Yeah, man. So now you're doing something cool right now, right? You're like documenting a journey that you're going on, 100 days of
Oh
private.
yeah, I was a guy named Bill Allen who's based out of Nashville. Seven Figure Flipping is the name of his group. He put together something called the 500K challenge, which was, 30 days, kind of go live on Facebook every day, start talking about what you're doing to kind of raise awareness so that people be interested in being private. It's a capital raising challenge.
Yeah.
So I had been doing that. I kind of took a break when everything was going on in LA last week. It didn't feel quite right because that's my hometown, and it felt a little weird. So I took a pause on that. But yeah, no, it was great, and started using LinkedIn, which I hadn't really used for my real estate as much. But a lot of folks that I've met and known in my life, either from my tech life or from NYU where I went to school or from LA where I grew up, they're all on there and I'm all connected to them. And so I've had conversations from just talking about what I'm doing and trying to figure out, for me, it's like figuring out the tone of voice where not, it's not cocky. It's more just like, this is what we're doing. And, if you have an interest, please reach out. I think that's the tricky, framework that I'm trying to figure out is how to talk about yourself to attract interest.
That's that's funny because that's the opposite of the thing that I struggle with, Greg. I was 23 years old and I got this man who's worth $200 million, and I'm over here sitting down with like a Goodwill suit coat on, telling him why he should give me $250,000 to launch this business. I mean, like we were good at the business. I was good at selling. Like it would have been a good investment. He made the investment. Ended up that whole business burned for a longer story than I have to tell right now. But I was just young and like had zero qualms. I laughed about this recently talking to people. Zero thoughts of like, should I be nervous about asking for this money? Like, should I like? And back then, I knew nothing about lender security or like anything. This was literally a very rich guy taking a very expensive dice roll on a very lucky racehorse, me at 22, 23 years old. He told me his name was Joel Schneider. He owned several large construction companies in New York, and he bought a bunch of property in my hometown in Winston. And so we actually, the business that I was growing for my friend, parking management, we sold the service to one of the properties that he owns. Well, then he's like, calls me, he calls one of my employees first, and then employee forwards it to me. He's like, well, I like this. He's like, I want to do this like on all my properties. And I'm like, all right, well, let's talk about it. So then he's like, put together a business plan. Keep in mind, I'm 22, 23 years old. Like, I've never put together a business plan. I've been slinging gym memberships for 3 years. I didn't really know what exactly I was doing when it comes to raising money. I didn't even conceptually know. I just knew if this guy's going to fund it, if this guy's going to be the guy with the checkbook, like your boy can run it up. That's all that I knew then, right? So I had no thoughts. And like, I have actually raised probably $600,000 in similar fashion over the course of my career for different business launches that we've done. Had no real idea what I was doing other than I'm really good at the marketing. I'm really good at the delivery of a sales product. So like if we can fund this thing, it can make money. Was always my offer. Nowadays, as I've learned, and this is really the most important thing that Pace and Sub 2 and that whole community has brought to me is a deeper understanding of creative finance and how to safely leverage private money in a way in which everybody wins, right? Because those risks that those people took on me as a young entrepreneur were very risky, right? And some of them paid off and some of them didn't. And I put the same bets on myself all the time, and a lot of those didn't pay off either, right? So like that's one of the things that I didn't struggle with was like learning how to not be overly confident. Like I was always able to sell it real high, but one of the things I've been learning a lot recently is again kind of the safety side of it. So as you've been raising private capital and building those relationships, how are you intentional with first off, I guess, asking for that, but then also giving lenders that kind of security or confidence in what you're actually doing?
Well, I have a particular sensitivity to it because jumped into Gator and started doing all these deals really quickly, and I've had a handful of bad deals. I actually have a deal in foreclosure right now where I'm in second position, where there's probably very little chance that I'm going to see the funds out of that deal. So I'm hypersensitive around it, and it's actually made me a bit trigger shy to continue being a private lender and to continue to ask for money because I know that I'm going to treat those lenders like gold. But at the same time, what if what if the deal doesn't sell, or what you just
Right.
kind of run through all those scenarios. But no, lender security, cross collateral, proper documentation, it's all hyper critical, and you have to start there, and everything else is just gravy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you, on your first few deals, did you self-fund them or did you raise private capital for your first flips and everything?
The first flips that I was doing, funded with hard money, and then I used my self-directed as kind of the second position funding source. So I JV'd with people who brought something else to the table. So the very first deal was, the guy who ran this local meetup and called up and said, "Hey, I have a duplex. Do you want to, provide some of the private money and we'll JV on it." And that one, went pretty well. We sold it, made a decent profit, and then the next two were basically a draw, like very little, because they took too long and there was not a lot of efficiencies. So, but yeah, I was the capital partner in those.
Do you feel like that helped better prepare you to go ask other people for money or like give them the confidence and security by having done it a little bit yourself first?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you have to obviously have some sort of a track record before you can, and that's why I hadn't really been talking about it on social media until now, because now with 3 deals on my belt and three more that are in progress, I feel like, okay, I can actually hang my hat on this and say I'm starting to figure out what I'm doing. But at the end of the day, flipping house is about um, choosing the right deal. So you're underwriting really, really well and putting in those contingencies for things to go wrong, including market shift and the market softening, and also just knowing that things are going to go long, they're going to cost more, and you're going to discover little oopsies along the way that you didn't account for.
So, okay, that's another great point there. You're going to encounter the little oopsies that you didn't, foresee or account for. When you're underwriting a deal, whether as the flipper or as the lender, when you're looking at it, what are some of the ways that you help? And I know you kind of do your connecting, probably work with a lot of wholesalers through this and like helping make sure the numbers are proper. So, what are some maybe mistakes or errors that you see others make that you think maybe they should be have a heads up on?
Yeah, I mean, really learning how to pull comps accurately, which is a really tricky thing to do because there's no exact one-to-one matches for the properties that you're pulling comps for. So when these wholesalers throw out an ARV or they throw out a rehab cost, normally, they don't have the comps that really are aligned in true comps, meaning, within the last 3 months and within a mile of the subject property, and within, I think it's 250 square feet of the subject property, and also just what that rehab scope is. It's very often, I don't know how wholesalers come up with that number, because they're not having a contractor walk it and give them an accurate figure. So those are the two numbers that you just kind of take with a grain of salt and do your own estimating. But it's almost an impossible calculus to try and
Yeah.
accurately peg those. And that's what you're basing your whole investment on, right?
Yeah.
So we've been getting a lot more deal flow, and I'm kind of the lead generation, acquisition part of our team now. And it's super hard to pull comps and know what things are truly worth. Um, and I think also in underwriting deals as an operator and as a lender, having that backup exit strategy in top of mind, is really, really important. So everyone thinks, oh, I'm going to sell it, I'm going to fix it, I'm going to flip it, I'm going to list it and sell it, and it'll be on the market and sold and closed in 45 days. And so you have these ridiculous timelines of 4 months from close to close, which is just, not realistic. 6 months is almost impossible to do sometimes. So I don't
Yeah.
know, man. I'm still figuring out like no idea.
That's one of the factors that I think as I was learning things, part of the reason why I have a lot of friction with actually putting my hands on any of the real estate. Like I love to generate it. I love that we have Bain and Tara working on actually acquiring a lot of it. I love what we do. But like me personally, like I just have a lot of like hesitancy that I know what I'm great at. I know what I'm really good at. So like I don't want to get things wrong. But as I've been studying, obviously for what now is going on a year and some change, the timeline, because I'm a fast guy, right? So it's like, all right, I want to start it. It's gonna be done fast. But like what I've learned is you can, like you kind of said, double the expected time. Like what you think is going to take, you can almost double it because that's a better rule of thumb than expecting it to be fast and then it take twice as long as you expect, I would imagine. So that's the one factor that's been harder for me to learn how to best
I
calculate.
kind of like the mobile home space because you got a lot of people who just want something that they can work on and they'll buy it in the condition that it's in. And you know, you're buying them so low that you can sell it to someone on owner finance with work needing to be done and still, you know, still make money on it. So that's, you know, and they just kind of you can turn them quicker. They're real properties, so they don't really have to go through the whole title process. It's just kind of, you know, you go to the DMV and you
So wait, yeah, wait. Let's break this down because we talk a lot about buying mobile home parks, which involves, buying the actual land. But when you're doing this, let's explain this a little bit more because I think there's some clarity
You
I'm
have
sure.
a title certificate, just like you have a VIN number and a title certificate. And a lot of times these older homes, they don't have that title, you know, and so you would have like a bill of sale and hopefully they have the title and they sign the back of it and that's your transaction. I mean, the one that I just closed on, we actually went through a title company and they were like, what do you guys need us to do again? I was like, I want to make sure there's no liens on it and that it's a, you know, proper transfer or whatever. So it's a bit of the Wild West in that way. But you know that allows the properties to transfer quickly.
Well, one thing that comes to mind is I have heard no gurus chanting go flip mobile homes. Like
Right.
it's not a strategy that's being championed heavily right now, which to
Yeah.
me as an entrepreneur, I see nothing but opportunity there when I see something like that. Like, everybody right now is trying to find zero down, sub 4%, sub two deals. Like
Right.
the whole world, all of social media, it seems, pays touches. So like everybody's going this route. I love that you found a unique route where it's like you can make good money, you can make it a little bit faster, and there's not as much competition in the market. I think that's great.
Yeah. And like, you know, you can buy an acre of land and you know, put utilities on it and put find two used homes and put those on it and sell the homes on owner financing, keep the land and charge rent for the land. So it's, you know, it's really a lot of different ways to slice it. And for me, mostly it was like, all right, you know, because we didn't kind of know where the market and everything was going to go leading up to like the end of last year, right? So it was always this foil of like the affordable housing space, you know, if the bottom dropped out of the economy or if rates didn't come down, which they still haven't really come down, needed that other sort of place to focus energy, you know, that was more recession resistant. So that was the thing that was driving me more and more. And I was lending, you know, I joined this other mobile home mentorship, a guy named John Fedro, who's been doing it like 15 years. Super nice guy. He's got a YouTube channel with a ton of information on it. And I met all these investors through his program. And I said, hey, I'm a private lender and I'm just cranking through these deals. And people were closing them out in 3 weeks, you know, and I'm charging 15% for 90 days. I do a promissory note and a personal guarantee. I mean, it's not, you could record a lien at the DMV on the title, but you know, it was in this kind of tight knit community, and these people had a lot of deals under their belt. So it was that is kind of what has gotten my wheels turning because I'm seeing people, you know, double their money while using my money. So
So explain that loan product that you just described that you did right there. So can you break that down for me again?
sure. So I basically, it was just like a PML deal where I've structured it two ways. I've done one way where I just say, okay, we'll do a promissory note and a personal guarantee, meaning that you as the borrower are guaranteeing that if you default on this debt, I can come after you. And the promissory note just says, you know, you're borrowing X amount, you're going to pay me 15% in 90 days. And I've done about 20 of these deals in the last year, and there's only been one that's gone long. And the reason that one went long is the mobile home park doubled the lot rent to $1,700 a month, which is
Had to
just
be Florida.
astronomical. In a 55 plus park in Florida.
I knew it had to be Florida. I
Yeah.
knew it had to be Florida.
And I had this great home for like 8 grand. I was expecting to make, you know, 8 or 10 grand on it. And instead he, you know, he's still trying to work to pay me off because
So you said you did 20 of these this year
yeah,
or
so
last year?
give or take. And so I mentioned two different ways. So one way is just, I'm your lender. It's a debt instrument. You pay me X% for 90 days. And the other was more of a JV.
Yeah.
And through that, I've made a partnership with a guy where we just, he finds the deals. We're partnered on an SEO website in Alabama, so we get leads through that. I'll fund the deals and we just split the profits.
Well, now you're talking my language. So we love collaboration on this side, So like
Yeah.
one of the things that struck a chord for me as you're talking there, I had a meeting earlier today with some of our lenders. I recently have launched DM Capital with my friend Nicole Reed. And so we're going to not only lend on EMD, but we have put together a new loan product, Novation's early release, where whenever we get that power of attorney signed for a Novations deal, we then lend basically a couple grand against the future commissions that they have coming in. So when I hear
Okay.
you talking about a loan product where you did 20 of them, 15% in 90 days is not bad, but I also love the collaboration, the partnership of it, because what we do best as a community is generate massive deal flow. Like just overall, like we get on here every day at 6 o'clock and we have somebody come in and then I go, let's go generate this. And like we pull a list or I make a post on Facebook and I'm like, we want to buy this kind of multifamily property. And it's just like an onslaught of stuff. So like for us, it's a lot about finding people that are operators in every one lane because we can definitely set up deal flow. We've had, I mean, how many people in the audience right now have generated a mobile home lead and have said in the chat, can we do anything with mobile homes? Like, and everybody's like, nah, we don't do nothing with it. Like, how many leads are there that we just haven't touched because we haven't had somebody that does that route? So when I hear you say you did 20 of them in both directions, whether 15% where we're lending or the partnership model, both of them sound like a win. And if we generate deals that we could, and this is what it's all about for me being a deal maker, we generated a lead. I don't have any way to take care of it. So let's find somebody that does and still get the deal done. That's what it's all about. Like let's keep the movement going on the lead side and pass it along to the next step when it's time.
Okay. The lead is a lead, right? Um, well, if I can just kind of lay out the structure of so I'm set up finally doing my first flip after being, the passive lender for a while. So this is a home in Sevierville. It's a really nice park, $750 lot rent a month, pool, paved road. You're normally used to seeing these kind of B and C class parks,
Yeah.
but this is a really top park. It was disgusting. Roaches, like really, really gross. But it's a 2002 home, which in the world of mobile homes is actually not that old. It's good condition. I mean, could be in good condition. Uh, bought it for 20. I'm probably putting about 30 into it, and I'm looking to sell it for like 85 or 90 on owner financing. So I have it. I've borrowed from a private lender to acquire it and pay for the renovations, and then I'll bring in a private lender to sort of partner on the note when I sell it. So a second private lender comes in, pays off this kind of acquisition lender, and then we form an LLC and sell it on owner financing. And so I don't have any money in the deal and probably, at
Okay.
3,500 a month.
So the second person would be like more like a private money partner there. They're partnering in the deal flow.
Exactly. So we form an LLC. They put up the money to pay off that first note, and then they receive cash flow based on whatever terms we agree to, 10 or 12%.
Solid.
Yeah.
Solid.
And it's, obviously every loan has chances of a default, probably require 20% down payment. So there's a little bit of equity in there. And then you just,
My next question was the down payment. So if you did a 20% down payment and you sold it at 85, you would get what? You basically have 16 grand that you would collect and be, what'd you say you were all in at 50? So
yeah.
like those are good numbers. I mean, you're going to collect a
And
big.
so hopefully borrow a little extra from the second private lender so I can pay myself. And then, they're kind of in it attached to the note and they're getting cash flow.
I
So.
love it. And is this a private lender, a private partner there that you have through your network, like professionally, whether your career or someone from sub two? Like, where are you finding these people?
Well, the I haven't found the kind of tail end lender yet because everybody, wants those chunky returns. My flip funder I found through Ryan Schroep's Fundwise group.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we know them.
hmm?
I said, we know them. They're in my DMs every day, like
Yeah.
6 of them. Hey, do you need transactional lending? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but it's a good group, and
Yeah.
it's networks are just great for meeting people and expanding the network. So
So you found a few that you're working with through there. You said, or your flip lender, you said you found through there?
yeah, yeah. But I'm always, I mean, that's why I'm doing that 30-day challenge, because I'm constantly looking for folks who are looking for that, passive, more reasonable returns that can make the deal work.
Yeah, it's not, that's the hardest thing to find all around. Like everything that you're looking for, the most difficult thing to find is that true private money lending. Like somebody who really wants to just be, for us even more so, private money partners. Because like we have so much deal flow that it's like, what do you want to do? Do you want to build a portfolio? Cool. Let's just partner together and do it. We'll bring the deals, you bring the money, and we can do more together. That's kind of part of the growth or advancement for people as they move from being just a deal maker where you're doing more than negotiating the wholesaling piece where you're getting things under contract to more of like actually focus on investor side and like building a portfolio. And so for us, building that network of private money partners is one of our focuses as well. So I can't wait for all of these deals that we have coming back in to pay out because don't let me be the bank of G money. You know what I'm saying? If I can start having more freedom and flexibility with that, because like I have obviously all of you know like an incredibly high level of belief in my ability to make a lot of money. So
Mhm.
like I also know what it's been like to be handcuffed and need access to funds and not be able to get them in order to grow your business. So like I just see so many unique lending opportunities. Um, like I met a guy the other day that does basically same kind of short-term gap funding stuff, but he does 10% return monthly. So like somebody will borrow 40 grand and he'll make 4 grand a month for basically 90 days. But like if that's all that they can get to get the deal done and they can make their numbers work, they still take it, And so like when it comes to lending, and this is one of the things that creative finance really unlocked for me is that the only rules are what we can all agree upon, right? Like as long as everybody feels confident and walks away with a smile on their face, then it's a good deal.
Right.
So
Well, and you
everybody has their
realize those are some rules that you got to look out for
yeah,
too.
there are some rules, of course. I should throw that caveat out there. I guess I should say when it comes to like term structuring, there is not at now you're right. I should be careful the way I say that because some people will take that and run within reason, right? When it comes down to talking to like negotiating terms with a lender, if the
Right.
lender can feel happy and we can feel happy and it fits within their risk adversity levels, right? Because some people are more risk adverse than others. I'm a roll the dice kind of guy, and some people are like not so much that way, right? And they're going to be way less about taking risky investments. It's just the nature of who you're working with and finding those different relationships. So I love the different products that are out there to be had in the SEC. Yeah, the SEC is definitely something we got to watch out for.
Hmm.
Let's see here. You're a floating head now, Greg. Look at you. There he is. Let's see. Well, there's a couple of questions up here we scrolled by. Tyler had asked, let's see. Where was it? What would be your suggestion on getting involved with your first flip? So let me add another caveat to this. Let's say somebody who can't afford to do their own first few deals and get that seasoning themselves. What would be the best way to go about getting involved in their first flip?
Just find the deal and find a good JV partner. Simple as that. Go to your local RIA meetings. I mean, the online communities are great, but the RIA meetings, which, I'm in Knoxville, which is a town of 250,000, and we have three
Yeah.
uh, really robust networks. So, I mean, that's what grid is. That's why I wear this, because that's the first three flips I did last year were all from people I met in that group. I mean, I did a ton of lending all over the country through Gator and Sub 2, but a lot of, fix and flip, you got to be able to see it and walk it and see the roaches and smell the dog poop. But yeah, I mean, I think, I'm sorry if I don't know if it was this call or the call was just on before, but it's like finding that DNA of what is, your thing that you're special at, and then go do that as, as deeply and as hard as you can for like 90 days. And then if that doesn't pan out and you've emptied the tank, then maybe adjust your avatar. But for me, it's like I said, it was about connecting, and connecting sort of leads to kind of everything else.
Yeah. I think you hit it home right there. I mean, you don't need to go be like try to be the fix and flipper at first. What you need to do is be the deal maker, be the lead generator, create the opportunity, put it on a silver platter. And this is where people come in and they were like, "Oh, I want to be a closer." Everybody wants to be a closer because it looks pretty online, like to get on the live like we did, and they did a blitz, the whole community basically, without me driving, which is cool to see. They did a blitz on Saturday and they sent out like 12 contracts. I think we've had 9 of them already signed, right? Getting on live and closing those deals seems pretty and flashy and cool, right? But the skill that people should really seek is actually underwriting deals properly, because when you can underwrite a deal properly, then you can put it on a silver platter. You go to a fix and flipper, you say, "Look at this incredible opportunity that I have." And they'll go, "Great. Let me call my hard money guy. Let me call my private money guy," because he's already got the seasoning. She's already got the seasoning. They've already done 3, they've already done 5 this month, right? You take the good opportunity to somebody who has all the systems in place, and you can turn around and be involved in that deal and start to build your seasoning through effort, like bringing the deals to the table. And I don't know many fix and flippers that would say no to that. It's something that like it's the nature of the business for a lot of flippers. You're either going to pay the wholesale fee and just buy the deal, do it yourself, or you end up partnering with somebody and then that person works harder to bring you all the good deals. So I know
Yeah.
many flippers that do this.
And underwrite not only, I mean, this is, I wanted to do a whole series on this, is sort of like educating borrowers on how to sell me, the lender, on your deal. Because a lot of
Mm.
times it's like, I got this great deal, it's X amount, the rehab is this, and you'll probably make this. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Who are you? Like, I don't know you at all. Like, and if we're gonna like be in partnership together and I'm gonna lend you money, like I need to know like what your financial picture looks like. People don't have a PFS together, which is a personal financial statement, a schedule of real estate owned, your track record of the deals you've done. And so that was something that I wanted to put together to try and educate people, connectors as well as borrowers, of like, you have to sell your lenders on the deal. And the more of that work you do ahead of time, and the more of a like robust picture that you paint, like the ease, it's exactly what you just said. The easier it is to just sell that through.
Yeah. Bane, I know you have been growing through a lot of this with Tara and how we have. Like, it's one thing to go say, "Hey, I need 50 grand for gap funding." And it's another to get on a meeting with a bunch of very wealthy guys and say, "We need $35 million to get started." What do you think?
What's the question?
What do you think about, I guess I did lose my question in that statement. Like you've been going through this private money capital raising side of things, right? So I guess in going through what we just talked about with Greg, underwriting is a huge portion of that, right? So what do you I guess the question is, how important has that skill that you brought to the table, the underwriting, been for you and your confidence level as we begin to raise capital for these higher level deals?
Yeah, underwriting's super important. And then yeah, like Greg was saying, like if you don't have the financial background, you need to bring someone who can, something to cross collateralize against or protect, the lenders that are coming to play. So, if you don't have the skill, you need to bring someone in and partner with them so that someone on the team has the thing that makes it a good deal, right? Like all across the board with people involved as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like we seriously been learning like capital raising on a higher level than most people ever get to. This is how we've been. Tara's like literally acts like it is just like a no-brainer. Like it's just so easy to go ask for $30 million. And like don't I like to think like I'm about it, right? As G Money, but like she just literally has, I wish you guys could hear her sometimes with how like just casually she talks about all this money. But then to circle back to Greg's point, it's because she also knows how to not only thoroughly underwrite the deal, but also paint the picture of what it is, right? And you kind of talked about what you're putting together there, Greg. A lot of that for me is like telling the story of the deal. The numbers of a deal is one thing, but telling the story of why this is better than any other numbers-based profile of a deal is super important. And that's the thing that I have learned, and maybe not even that I have learned as much as I see my potential within capital raising, is my ability to market and tell the story of what each thing is, right? So like we're looking at several things. We got the horse farm that we're still working on down here, and the James Gang Ranch, and how it's like a flashback to the 1800s and no electricity, and we're gonna have this disconnect from modern reality. got the whole story built, right? And then we've got Catskill, which is up in New York. It's how big is that, Bane? Like Tara's literally racing for the horse farm as we speak.
Literally, like as we're talking. I don't know, it's like 200 or 300 acres. It was some huge property.
Like it was a giraffe farm or some shit like that. Like
Yeah, it was
something.
an old it was like an old zoo. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is another crazy thing that's brought to us. They're like, they got all these assets. And so then we met with somebody yesterday, or I guess it was last week now. And he was like, well, really, you've got all of these assets that now we can go ask for the starting point of $30 million and then leverage to get to where we need to be at $75 million down the road. And so just learning how easy it is to actually get the capital when you have good deals. Like when you have something that just makes sense and people can look at and see like, wow, this is going to make money. It's like just it's such an unlock. It has been for me at least. And Greg, I'm sure you probably experienced some of this. So like when you truly understand what it means to use other people's money, OPM, right? Like wow, this is really like that easy. If not like it's not necessarily easy. There's lots of qualifications as we discussed, but just like Bain said, to Bain's point, even if you have zero of the qualifications needed, but you have a banger of a deal, you'll find somebody else that does meet the qualifications and still put the deal together. That's what the thing about having a good deal does, is it just makes it fall into place. So that's been the biggest eye opener for me on the capital raising side.
Yeah, and even if you don't have the deal or the money, but you know the person who has the money and you can bring them into it. I mean, that again, you got to understand what you're bringing them into. But I wanted to go back to that people are asking about flipping and the underwriting and everything. Definitely planning for the worst in terms of what your backup exit strategy is. I think a lot of folks are just like, oh, we'll sell it. And this is the ARV, and we'll sell it for the ARV and it'll be great. And I was halfway through. I did two flips at once, going from April to November of last year, which was a bit stressful because I was the only one with any money on the line. And they obviously took longer than expected, and things were a little uncertain going into the end of last year. But I realized halfway through, I'm like, well, what happens if these don't sell? Like, or what happens if the market, drops 10% and all of a sudden, the credit market dries up or something. So understanding what your midterm, short-term, long-term rental exit strategy is and how you're going to finance that. Because I
Yeah.
know there's a lot of people who have hard money loans that are expiring and they're like, and you again, you can bring in partners or offload things that way, but having it sussed out on the front end is really important. So the partnership I'm in now, he owns about 25 properties around Knoxville, so there's a good amount of equity, and he's a credible borrower. And so we're going into every one of these deals knowing that if we don't sell them for X, we can always just add them to the portfolio and cash flow.
So that actually popped a thought in my mind that I think we can add clarity for people. As on the front side of what we're doing with acquisitions, we talk about comping, right? Comping and underwriting are two different things. A lot of times people will ask for help with underwriting, and they really mean they want to comp the property. Like they want to know what their offer should be. That's comping on the front side. Underwriting, and all of you guys feel free to chime in here if you agree or disagree. But like underwriting is on the other side. We're looking at the disposition strategies here. We're looking at, and then Greg, you just kind of nailed it home. A lot of people will be like, oh, it's not going to cash flow as a long-term rental, so it's a short-term rental. Right. And like there's more to thorough underwriting process. And this is why Bain and Tara are great. And like they do these sessions and they'll be underwriting for hours at a time. And like I'll last 45 minutes to an hour. And then I'm like, I got another 7 calls to jump into. So y'all keep doing your thing, because that's a slower, more tedious, more intimate process of underwriting a property for what money it can make on the other side. So do you see that disconnect people too when they ask for help with underwriting and they're talking more on the front side and they really truly have no idea how to underwrite the exit strategies? Because that's something I see a lot. People will send me a deal, but just like you said, they have no idea how that deal actually makes money because they're not looking at it as the end buyer. They're not underwriting it in that way. They're looking at it as a wholesaler, like I got it at this discounted rate. So that's something I see a lot. Have you seen that as well?
Yeah, well, and one of the things I'll consider and do when I'm looking at a PML deal is looking at days on market, looking at, inventory, calling the, I will ask a flipper, I would like your realtor's number because I want to ask them about, what they feel about this price point that you're projecting sale on. So yeah, just I think you hit it on the head. It's just gaming for worst case scenario.
Yeah, always.
Yeah,
Better to be prepared for the worst than
absolutely.
to not.
Yeah, and then be pleasantly surprised.
Exactly. Exactly. Hans, what's your thoughts, man? You've been quiet back there. I know you've had some hesitancy getting into the flipping side as well, huh?
Man, I'm telling you, I still think you guys are all crazy when it comes to the raising money and all of that. But after seeing Bane's post the other day, I had actually sent that to a few people that I know have money, lots of money, and they're like, send me the details on that. He sold it too quick, but I don't know. It's interesting. I feel like I was limited on my thoughts on lending and all of that. I was thinking you need to have this and have that. Really, you just need to build connections. And then if you don't have the qualifications, bring someone in that does.
Yep.
And then as long as you have a good deal, it's like it works no matter what. It's insane.
The post that he's referring to, Bain was like, we need like who wants $1 million for a $5.2 million BND for 75 days? And like 20 people. But keep in mind, probably half or more of them are lending someone else's money, like the same someone else more often than not. But like, doesn't matter. That many people are like, oh yeah, I can help you. 20 people. It said, Bain, I can help you. I didn't make the post. Bain did. So like Bain got that much traffic. Imagine if we like actually did a real raise for this off of like not just one Facebook post. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is way too easy. Like way too easy. It shouldn't be. Now, keep in mind, like that deal is still being worked on. It's not like a home run done quite yet. But like I also had people that reached out to me after he posted and like, I can help with this. They reached out to me to say they can help with this. I didn't go ask them. That's the interesting thing about other people's money. You realize their business is putting that money to work. So they want to find the good deals to put it into.
That
Yeah.
was a good marketing strategy you did there, Bane, too. When you didn't say the deal, you just said, this is how much you're going to make. Get with me now. So then everyone could just say, okay, what's the details? Then you
Yeah.
instantly can siphon through who's
Some
qualified or not.
some people got mad at that, but
Yeah.
whatever.
That's it's the nature of the game. I did see those
Selling
comments.
the sizzle, man. You're selling the sizzle.
Telling the sizzle. That's it, baby. Somebody been paying attention on the G Money machine, learning their marketing tactics, doing their homework. Bane's been out there putting it to work. I've been seeing the lead magnets and everything come from my man. He's picking it up.
That's the G money machine right there.
That's it, man. That's it. Well, Greg, I know we're approaching the tail end of this hour, man. First off, I appreciate you joining us and sharing some value. I think there's probably some further conversations me, you, Bain, and Tara should jump on and see how we can collaborate on deal flow. Especially since, like you mentioned, your focus on PML is a lot of what we're doing as well. So, as we've talked about the whole time, being able to partner and collaborate together, I'm sure there's some ways that we can get deals done between the flow that we bring and some of the experience and stuff that you have as well. So I will set that up so that we can all talk a little bit more. I
Cool.
did see a hand raise a second ago. Does somebody have a question? Okay, that hand raise dropped off. If you want to drop your links and stuff in the chat again so people can connect with you, and then maybe we can plan. I know you mentioned wanting to do a series on like you just talked about, basically underwriting a deal and learning how to present it to a private money lender. Maybe we collaborate on that
Yeah.
and we keep people together because that sounds like something we definitely need to get out there for people.
Yeah,
That'd be
I'd
cool.
love that. I definitely would have a lot of questions.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it. And yeah, I threw my calendar link in the chat, so if anyone wants to schedule some time, and I might be starting to get booked out because I'm now doing this MLO business. So I'm trying to, generate a lot of meetings that way. So it's like you, man, just kind of too many irons in the fire. But
That's why the live sessions are so great, man, because now we just connected with 30 something people on live. There'll be another 150 or 200 people that watch it on Facebook. How many days would that take me to just let everybody listen to me talk, for an hour? So I can't speak highly enough of the live session. So like this is why I think it would be cool if we were to collaborate in that way because I can bring a lot of people. We can get a lot of people to come and learn and go generate deals, and then we can all partner on them and figure out ways to all make money together. So this is the benefit of leading with value. We get live and we share, and then the deal flow comes back in.
absolutely.
See, we got a hand raise here. Mike, what's up, man? Oh, you're unmuted, but I still can't hear you. We're having some technical difficulties there, Mike. See if we'll get you in there. Bane, in the meantime, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, Greg, do you do so are you connecting to like private money lenders, or are you starting to lend like your own funds, or have you built like a a pool to then go invest, or are you doing any PML stuff? Couple
Um,
questions.
yeah, so I, lent out of my self-directed IRA. I've done short-term deals using my HELOC, and then I've connected other under lenders on deal. I mean, I think the next phase would be starting a fund and really starting to raise capital the legit way. Still sort of learning how to do that, which my partner on the fix and flips here has already got a debt fund that he's doing with a partner. So he and I are discussing just, how to evolve that and just basically do more deals. So yes, the answer is connecting and directly lending myself.
Gotcha. And will you do PMPs too, or are you just looking to lend?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the PML for debt is great for short-term returns, but I'm in this business to grow cash flow and grow equity. That's the long-term goal. So I think PMPs, for me, it's just been hard trying to figure out who to partner with. You meet so many people, and it's like there's just so many deal opportunities, and it's hard to know, sort of which ones to follow up on. But the answer is yes. PMP is a private money partner. So a PML, a private money lender, would be more lending for debt, certain straight, 10, 15% interest rate over a set period of time. A private money partner often goes on an LLC or use a joint venture agreement, and they'll share in the equity, they'll share in cash flow, they'll share in the depreciation if they're looking for tax benefits. So you can basically lend to own part of the deal. I
Mhm.
saw that in the chat.
Absolutely. So that's just to add a little clarity there for you. So a PML is debt, meaning they're making an interest return, and PMP is going to be equity, meaning they're buying equity in the deal. They're going to make the residuals just like you would as the end buyer of the deal. Does that make sense to everybody? Because I know those are sometimes terms that we glaze over. We don't always think about explaining, but I think it is important to identify the difference between debt and equity. And I think that's a great question there, Bain, because for us, private money partners, I know, Bain, you probably like, all right, that's great. Let's talk, because that's very much so the direction. We got all this deal flow. We got all of this deal flow. We want to acquire. I can see, or I can at least assume a bit what's coming in the real estate space and in the world, in the country over the next couple of years. And I know that we want to have a bunch of cash flow in real estate as it continues to move forward. So I think that's great. We should definitely talk more about that. We got something else here from Daniel. We have, through your experience mind of private money lending on single family mobile homes or like portfolios or mobile home parks or more, as long as the numbers make sense. So Daniel, do you have a mic if you want to add more to that question? I want to make sure.
Yeah, my apologies, bro. So I was asking, like, and through his experience, does he like mobile homes, single mobile homes, right? So private money lending on single mobile homes. Would he like mobile home parks more or portfolios? You know what I mean? As long as the numbers make sense. So, like, say there's a single mobile home and the spread is nice. Like, does he work with singles, like individuals, right? If the mobile home park makes sense, like, and the spread is nice, like, does he prefer it that way? Just through his experience, I kind of want to know
Yeah.
what his go-to is. What you're comfortable with.
So far, just because I still feel like I'm a baby in this industry, I've just been doing this.
Likewise.
Yeah, it's a good question. But the same way I want to grow into like multifamily apartments, I definitely want to grow into mobile home parks because you're basically just renting the dirt. I mean, there's infrastructure things, there's management things. You can deal with unruly tenants and everything, but I've just heard over and over again that owning parks is really just an incredible cash flow
Yeah.
strategy, and you can also add value, right? So, but the problem is that the secret is kind of out on parks in a lot of ways. So, I mentioned that mobile home where they doubled the lot rent. Like a lot of these hedge funds have realized what a good cash flow opportunity is, and they don't have to own the homes. So when you're looking at a mobile home park, is it TOH, which is tenant-owned homes, or is it POH, park-owned homes? And people have differing opinions on this, but a lot of people just want to get into the TOH realm where they're just owning the dirt. That, they bill back the utilities, so the tenants pay the utilities, and then they're just making sure that it doesn't flood, there's no violence, whatever, and then they collect the lot rent. So yeah, that's kind of the end game, just like owning, 20 to 30 units in a building is the end game.
And Daniel, to your question, there is many, and Greg kind of touched on this, many people around that want those kind of mobile home parks. So, and like literally anytime you got a mobile home park, there's like 3 people that I could call that will snatch it up like that if it's a good deal. 100%. So like if you have the, I would assume you asked that because you probably have those kind of opportunities that you touch. Definitely we have a home for them.
Yes,
Daniel, I
sir,
got a
man.
few coming for you too, man. We can
Hey,
maybe
I
work them
appreciate it.
together. I
Yes, sir.
have I have spoke to so many bigger owners of those type of investments, and I always pass them because I'm just wanting cash, cash, cash. So I'm about to go through my CRM and just know you might have like 10 of them coming.
Man, I appreciate you. But like to Greg's thing is that's how I got into this game, bro. In college, bro, is there's less competition. There's competition, but there's less competition. And bro, believe it or not, if you I'll show you. So like you said, we'll meet and we'll chop it up, bro. Believe it or not, you can flip mobile home park or mobile homes just one on one, one by one, even if they're in portfolio, way faster than you can do a house. Cause to Greg's point, bro, sign the back of a title, it's mine.
Yeah.
We'll find somebody, we can flip it double, triple sometimes. It's nuts.
Yeah, no, I had someone go in one of the Facebook groups locally and say, "Hey, someone is getting rid of a mobile home. Like, who wants to take it?" And I went on to Marketplace. I posted for 2,500 bucks, and it was sold in like 3 days. And me and the agent and the person who owned it split the money, and that was one Marketplace post. So, they're not all that easy. And some of them are teaming with roaches, like the one I'm dealing with right now, and bed bugs, which I haven't told my wife about that part. It was just like, please God, don't let me infest my home with bed bugs.
Yeah, right. You'll get in trouble with
Yeah.
that.
I will be sleeping literally in the doghouse for a month. But yeah, no, so it's a great investment strategy, and it is super flexible in terms of selling for cash and selling for payments.
I like the sounds of that, Daniel. We definitely gonna put some stuff together.
Hey,
Line
believe it or not, bro, you have one getting signed tonight. Good luck.
it.
I didn't tell you, bro.
Let's
It's good.
Surprise!
go. Let's
There we
go.
go. Love it. Faith, you got your hand raised. What you got?
Well, I was just curious, Greg. So you're saying like you're actually buying modular homes and placing them on land elsewhere? Like you're buying them as foreclosures off of a lot, or because I live in a modular home, but it's affixed to the land and it's considered a home now. Like
No, I
it,
haven't done. I was just saying that I there are people I know who do that strategy where they'll buy a lot from, like, this one guy I know buys lots from the tax sale, and he'll buy a home from Clayton and put in the money to get the utilities done, and then sell them, for the same price that you'd sell a stick built home.
oh,
Um,
it's
so-
like on my way home from work today, there was a for sale by owner, a double wide mobile home on an acre and 3/4,
all about.
$200. But we hadn't been doing mobile homes, so I guess that.
Market are you in? Where do you live?
Oh,
What'd you
I live up in the due west of Ocala in Florida.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's a good market
Sounds
for
like
it.
we just might be making a deal right there. That's what I hear. I hear like we're getting close to a deal. I love to see it.
Just
Faith,
well,
the deal hunting that you do in there, driving, you're like, for sale by owner.
always got to have those eyes open.
That's it.
I want to share this just because I just opened this letter, but I received a letter from someone telling me how they'd like to purchase my home
Mm.
and enclosed a purchase agreement. So all I got to do is sign it and feel free
Ball.
to just act now. And so I looked over and they offered me $39,000 for my 5 acres of land with my $180,000 mobile home on it. 39,000. Now imagine how many of these have gone out that somebody actually signed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, people do that with vacant land too a lot. They'll just send the offer, a blind offer, insulting offer, and
Yeah.
I thought
Just low enough to make them mad to call you and cuss you out, and then you can actually negotiate.
Right.
I see business opportunity. Here's a connection for us.
Direct mail is a huge opportunity there for sure. That's a whole nother lead generation strategy that we will get to eventually. But
That
I love where your focus is at, Faith. Looking at different opportunities. You're seeing opportunities and everything around you, and I love that for you.
Yeah,
well,
I
thank
know an area in Seattle. I met with Vena Garbeck. You guys probably heard of her before. She's a big wholesaler here in Seattle. She does direct mail in Seattle area, and she has had so much success. I'm just not trying to take on 3,000 letters a week like she is, but she's making a lot of money from doing that. So that's definitely interesting. It's definitely interesting.
in the real estate and as a realtor, they call it farming.
Mhm.
That's what the term is. And what I thought was really interesting, and when I was a realtor, was that people were spending the money on the letter, the stamped envelope for a $20,000 lot. And so I chose, if I'm going to send the same money, stamp, letter, and envelope, I'm sending it to the $300,000 lot people. Like, your odds are just the same that you're going to get one of those lots, except your commission's going to be much bigger.
Too big. That's what I like to hear, Faith. What's up, Tyler? Got your hand raised, man.
Hey guys, what's up?
What's up?
Hey Greg, you're speaking my language on these mobile home parks, man. Have you seen anybody turning these decrepit mobile home RV parks into tiny home communities?
I haven't personally seen it, but I've heard a lot of people whose goal is that. So yes, I think um, I just think we're going to see more and more of it as the affordability crisis grows. I mean, first thought, like I said, I grew up in LA, so obviously the fires were pretty horrific. And I couldn't really see how you rebuild, the Pacific Palisades with $5 million homes. I think a lot of people will end up leaving because we left California in 2020 and came to Tennessee, and the threat of fire was definitely one of them. But I was, thinking that we might start seeing these planned communities and these tiny home communities, sprout up there. You could probably see these big conglomerates buying some of this land and doing that because, there's still a housing shortage. So
Yeah,
Yeah, I know that's your focus, Tyler. That's what you're trying to
that's
really.
my main goal. Yeah.
Mine
Yeah.
too, just saying.
I know you're the tiny living coach.
cool.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I put my link in the chat. Definitely
I
send
can't see your chat.
I would love that, Greg. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not in my chat.
Yeah, you accidentally, Greg, I think, did host and panelist. You got to do the drop down and hit
Cool.
send to.
Everyone. Sorry, here we go. There's my calendar.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
There we go. Well, we'll give you guys just a minute to grab that calendar link and go grab a time with Greg. But my man, I appreciate you spending some time with us and dropping value on the
So fun.
private money side. I'm sure we'll have some deal collaborations to come together. I'm excited for that. I love to see Bain already jumping into a seller call. That's how we know it's time to get busy and get after it, guys. So I appreciate y'all coming to spend an hour and listening to Greg share value. So if you need anything, you can connect with him. You know where to find me as always. We'll be back active tomorrow. Hans, you on at 12 o'clock like normal?
Yep.
All right. Well, there we go. Let's keep it moving, guys. I had a great meeting with the lenders for the Novation side. Everybody's super hype about that. Had a great meeting with Garen as well today. That partnership is growing. I think we're going to be a 1-2 punch that is going to knock down a whole lot of things for a whole lot of people. So super excited for what we got coming for deal makers as always, guys. Let's keep it rocking and keep the deals getting made. Y'all have a great
Let's
rest of the
do
week.
it.
Chat with you later. Peace.
See ya.